I really didn't know what to expect when I went into this Colorado trip, but what I experienced was a state and 2 national parks that just offer so much variety, so much wildlife, and so many natural landmarks that just make you feel like you are on a completely different planet. So here's my 5-day Colorado National Park trip. And, let me address the elephant in the room. I know, sick hat, right? Look, this is my first time making a YouTube video on this channel, Trail Rated NP. This is a new project that I'm starting up. My goal with this channel is to just experience America and all the beauty, one national park at a time. I mean, that's kind of like my little tagline that I put in my descriptions of my social medias, which you should follow. And I want to just give honest ratings. I want to be able to tell my experience, my time, my personal experience, and why you should go to these parks. I am completely committed to going to all 63 national parks, including Gateway March. So I'm gonna also be ranking these two. I'm gonna wanna compare these two, compared to the other 5 that I've also been to. And so how I'm gonna do that, I have 5 rankings on how I rank these national parks. The first one's gonna be scenery. The second one's gonna be adventure or like activities. Third one's uniqueness. The fourth being atmosphere, weather, stuff like that. And then the last one being replay value, like how much do I want to go visit that park again a second time. But anyways, let's get to why you are here. You want to see me talk about Colorado. So that's what I'll do. Let's get right into this video. Now again, I had never been to Colorado before, so this was my first time visiting. I drove all the way up from Austin, Texas to Estes Park, Colorado. It was a very long drive. And Estes Park is about 7,500 feet up in the elevation. I didn't feel anything, to be honest, right away, even though that I've lived in Texas my entire life. But I definitely started to feel the elevation when I started going on some of those hikes in the Rocky Mountains. But having this new experience was genuinely jaw-dropping. I mean, seeing these snowy tipped mountains for the very first time in my life really was just mesmerizing. I mean, you could tell me, and this is gonna sound extremely stupid to somebody who's experienced the West a lot, but you could tell me that those were the Himalayas, and I would just believe you. They were so beautiful, something that I've never seen in my entire life. But there was a big issue when we got there. So this was on Memorial Day weekend. It was crowded. And also, it is 1 o'clock in the afternoon when we are trying to enter this park. So basically, if you want to visit the Rocky Mountain National Park anytime between like mid-May to mid-October, you're going to need a timed entry pass. So basically, you're going to go to recreational.gov, you're going to purchase a 2-hour time slot for when you're entering the park. They come in 2 variations. I highly recommend getting the one with the access to Bear Lake Road. As you will see, that will be basically all the main attractions of the park. And if you want my advice, I would say get a timed entry early in the morning. Because I'll tell you what, getting there at 1 o'clock in the afternoon is not a recipe for success, at least for like an hour. Then you'll get in and you'll be fine. But you do wait a very long time getting into that park. I believe it was about at least 45 minutes for us in our line. Some people call it the Disney World of Nature. I don't know if that's true. I haven't been to many other places, but it did kind of feel like that. But once we finally got into the park, our first thing that we did was Sprague Lake. Sprague Lake? Sprague. There are over 350 designated trails in the Rocky Mountains, so it was a little bit tough trying to pick that first hike when we got there. We didn't really know what to do exactly, but we went to Sprague Lake, which was off of Bear Lake Road, and it's a very, very easy 1.2 mile loop hike around a beautiful, beautiful lake with a ton of views, some wildlife as well. There were geese, squirrels along the trail saying what's up. It was relatively a normal, easy hike, not much elevation gain at all. Very, very beautiful views. Good good little warm up, it's like a pregame. After that, if you want some really good photos, I recommend going to Moraine Park, one of my favorite parts of the park. You get to see some elk. You get to see, I've heard that you get to see some moose in there as well. Unfortunately, I did not see any, but you did see some big horned elk out there. Tons of them, really. A lot of people fishing out there. I'm sure you got to get some kind of license to fish there, obviously, but great place, apparently. A lot of people were there. I guess that makes it actually not a good place to go. I'm getting off topic. but it was just more peaceful more than anything. You know, it was a place that I could just go sit down, look at the views, and just forget about everything. Just think about what an amazing place to be in. I mean, you got mountains all around you, birds chirping. It is just a low cortisol place to go, I'll tell you that. After that, we decided to go check into our lodge at Estes Park, which was a great gateway town. I loved it. We went to go get some grub. Ended up going to High Brewery. We were pretty attracted by the $12 beer flight offer that they had. And so we went there. Great beer, but also great food. Would have been the highlight of the trip, to be honest. But after filling up, we traveled the mighty Trail Ridge Road, or what was open of it. It is the highest paved continuous road in the entire US. It gets up to 12,000 feet up in the Alpine region. We were able to get over 2 miles above sea level until the rest of the road was closed. The furthest part of the road that was open from the east side from Estes Park was Rainbow Curve Outlook. I would consider this a must if you're going to Rocky Mountains. Again, you don't have to do much walking. You know, you're in a car. I would definitely recommend going around sunset or sunrise. That's what we tried to do with sunset. Unfortunately, it was a little bit of an overcast. We couldn't get much of a good view. Definitely something that when I go back, I want to try to do all of it. I mean, it's definitely something that really makes me want to come back. That was day one. I mean, very light. We got in, in the afternoon, tried to do as much as we could. Now, before we could even leave our lodge at 5 in the morning the next day, I realized a big problem. Now, it was still below freezing in the Rockies, and I realized that my dumbass forgot to pack pants. However, I was lucky enough to realize that I still brought my pajama pants. My only pair of pants that I brought for the trip. Well, long pants, I still had shorts. But it did make me look idiotic. Extremely idiotic. I felt it in my bones. But we set sail for a long day of hiking in the Rockies, and it was not a long wait to get into the park this time. We had a 5 to 7 timed entry pass, and there was nobody even at the Bear Lake Road access or the actual park access. It was just an easy drive-through, basically. So we started with the Emerald Lake hike, which is a 3.6 mile round trip. It has an elevation gain of about 700 feet, but it's a pretty straightforward hike. I mean, you will start to feel the elevation. You will get a little bit tired. We had an issue with ice. There was a lot of ice still on the trail, a lot of shade, so much shade that it was pretty cold. We had obstacles in the road. There's just tree trunks in the middle of the trail, very tall, and the ice was just making it extremely difficult for a lot of people to just get around. There were some dangerous parts. You'll see right here. It definitely put me on my butt a few times, I'll tell you that. You have a lot of places to stop during the hike, including Bear Lake, including Nymph Lake, I think even Dream Lake. All of those lakes right there, you could stop at, take some photos. It took us probably about an hour to get to Emerald Lake, and once we got there, it was partially frozen. You're over 10,000 feet in the air. And so the background of these photos, I mean, I could just sit there and stare at them for hours. This is a highly recommended hike. I mean, there's not a lot of hikes that I dislike, but this hike, I'm telling you right now, was one of my favorites. But we still had a lot of time to kill. I think it was only like 10 o'clock when we got back from Emerald Lake, and we decided to go do something stupid. We did Sky Pond. Sky Pond is an amazing hike. It is 9 miles round trip and over 1,000 feet of elevation gain. It also has a huge waterfall scramble at the very end, which was completely filled with ice. But you'll see that we were pretty dumb to do this hike, but we still survived. We were able to get through it. It was very easy at the start, a lot less shaded than the Emerald Lake hike, but it definitely made the elevation gain feel more dramatic, being in the being out in the sun. A lot of places to stop on this trail too. Alberta Falls is one of them, but eventually you get to snow. You get high enough to where you are in some deep snow. And at the very end, right before this waterfall scramble, which gets you to Sky Pond, there was about a 1/4 mile of very high elevation gain with extremely, I would say about 3 feet tall snow. I was really struggling. It took me probably about 30 minutes to do this 1/4 mile. I wouldn't say it was scary. It wasn't like a very steep drop off. You knew you were going to get stopped in the snow if you were to slip and fall. But it was still intense. It was very intense. I think this is a great time to stop and say that that we didn't have any crampons on, nor did we have any walking sticks. And I also think this is a great time to remember that I still have pajama pants on. I mean, these pajama pants are durable. I cannot believe how much crap they went through on this trip. But yeah, no, it was a dumb idea. I don't recommend even sniffing this hike without snow crampons if you are doing this in snow. I believe that the waterfall up there, the sky pond and all that area, the quarter mile, dries up. There isn't snow year round. It was just the time that we went, it was still really cold. So we were kind of stuck at a bad time and we were unprepared. It took us about 2.5 hours to get to this waterfall, and once we did, we did this scramble. We realized that we were the only ones that were going to try to attempt it without crampons or walking sticks and so we decided that this was probably a good time to stop. We did not make it all the way to Sky Pond, but we did as much as we could. But getting down was the funnest part. We slid down. We slid down a good amount of times. I wish I could have gotten some photos or videos at least, but my phone died, unfortunately, on this hike. All trails drained my battery, I'm telling you. Overall, though, 9 out of 10 hike. The only 10 out of 10 is that quarter mile, man. Oh my goodness. I never want to do that again in the snow. Afterwards, we got a good nap in and we went back to Trail Ridge Road. I thought I wanted to go see it again, try to get a better sunset this time, and we did get a decently better one this time. But the most memorable part about going to Trail Ridge Road is when we were on our way down, I got to see some moose for the first time. I didn't think that I was gonna see any moose when I was in this park. It was the second day, we were about to leave, and this was kind of the last activity we're gonna do inside the park. To be honest, I don't think I've ever seen moose in my life before that. It was just really cool. I mean, they are huge animals. But that was definitely a highlight of the park, was seeing those moose. But anyways, that is the Rocky Mountains. Those were my 2 days spent there. I'll rate this park right at the end with the Great Sand Dunes because I think it's more important to get into the rest of the trip before I start ranking both of them. I mean, some of the dunes, including High Dune, which you'll hear about later, which is the highest point of elevation in the park, is 750 feet tall from its base. I mean, they were mighty. But anyways, it was about a 5-hour drive from Estes Park to Alamosa, which is another gateway town. Not really technically, it's still about a 30-minute drive from the Great Sand Dunes, but it's a really nice small town off the Rio Grande River. But it was a completely different environment than what it was at Estes Park. I mean, this was a desert ecosystem. It went from snowy tipped mountains to, well, still snowy tipped mountains, but you got sand, you got plains. And that makes it a completely different experience than from the Rocky Mountains as well. I mean, the Great Sand Dunes doesn't have a lake, let alone a creek for most of the year. It doesn't have nearly as many trails. There's really only one big hotspot where people go to, which is, of course, the dunes. But those dunes were worth the trip. I mean, of course, it's in the name. Just real quick, I mean, if you do not like sand, this park is not for you. I mean, I'm not a big fan of sand either, but I'm not Anakin Skywalker level of hate of sand. You're just gonna be walking in a lot of sand. It's a quarter, I would say it's about a quarter mile from the parking lot to the actual dunes, where you're just walking in flat sand, just walking towards the dunes. I mean, it takes a while to get there, and honestly, I mean, I felt it. I was pretty gassed before I even got there in the first place. And although it doesn't really feel like you're that high in elevation because you got all these mounds around you that are so tall, you are still about 7,000 feet in the air just on the base of the dunes. So yeah, definitely pack some water. Hot or cold, pack some water, because if you're not used to elevation like me, you're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel it with this one. Kind of like Rockies, we did some light exploring on the first day. We got in much later this time. It was about 5 o'clock in the afternoon when we first got into the sand dunes. But yeah, we just went out on the base, got some nice photos. I mean, we were just in shock about these sand dunes. But the first thing that we decided to do was the Canyon Overlook Trail, which is off the dunes actually. This trail starts on the camping side of the park. It was a moderate 2.8 mile round trip, with a very moderate elevation gain. but definitely worth the view. You get a whole view of the sand dunes with all the mountains around you. And yeah, I mean, you really get perspective on these sand dunes, I'll tell you that. One thing that was extremely weird about it, I mean, we're talking about how popular Rocky Mountain is. We did not see a single person on this trail. So once again, I woke up at 5 a.m. the next day. Now my buddies decided not to. Still had my Stars Heavy coat jacket on, and this time, the pajama pants, yep, they made a return. But I realized that I really didn't need the pajama pants. Now, it was a cool, brisk 45 degrees. There was barely any wind, which I'll tell you, that part gets windy. So I thought I was pretty lucky at that point. And, you know, once I started getting out there, I told you, I mean, that quarter mile before you even get to the dunes, just walking in the sand, I was already sweating. I didn't even need warm clothing for this trip. But yes, I got there and hiked High Dune, which is probably the most popular hike in the park. This hike is a 3-mile round trip where you are constantly on an uphill slope in sand, seeing all the mountain range, the entire sand dunes. There are about 6.5 billion cubic meters of sand in those dunes. They go on, which I have no clue how they got that information. That seems extremely difficult to find, but I believe them. Once again, early morning, completely worth it. Highly, highly recommend. It is so worth it. It definitely got crowded in the afternoon in the park, as in the main area where the dunes are. It was also completely worth it going in the morning because when it got in the afternoon, it got windy. It also started to rain, which didn't really mix well. But luckily, before that even happened, we still had time to go to Blanca, Colorado and rent out some sandboards for $30. I can't tell you how much you are going to miss out sandboarding if you go to the sand dunes and not do it. Like, it is half the trip. Like, you have to do it. We went to Spindrift Sandboards. They offered multiple different variety of sandboards. They offered how to ride each and every one of them. And they also just on top just offered the best customer service you could probably get anywhere. I mean, shout out to the owner there. Highly recommend going there over the other place you can rent sandboards out, much closer to the park. I've heard that there's some shady business that goes down over there. This place, Spindrift Sandboards, no shady business. Now, the sandboarding itself was questionable. I was pretty bad at it. It's not really comparable to snowboarding. Actually, it's more comparable to surfing. You gotta keep yourself square, you gotta keep your hips square. For some reason, I cannot do that. That probably explains why I'm not that good at golf either. But I'll tell you what, there's not many times in your life you can say that you spent time sandboarding down sand dunes, and it was memorable. I mean, it was a lot of fun.
Save it. Good.
Definitely worth it. We ended up getting more and more elevated, doing more and more challenging ones. I started getting, on my butt when I was going down on some of these because I was too worried. But yeah, man, so many laughs. It was great. It was great until the rain came and the wind. That made the park unbearable to me. I had to basically leave after that. It actually became painful how strong the sand was hitting my legs from the wind. We ended up spending some time just watching the sunset, kind of outside the park. But after that, that was our experience at the Great Sand Dunes. Quick 2 days, really 1 day and a half. So yeah, that was my 4-night, 5-day adventure in Colorado visiting those 2 national parks. Before I go into the ranking, definitely take these rankings with a grain of salt. These are also based off of my personal experiences, but I just want to say that I feel like every park is first in a different category. All these are really that special, so it was difficult to rank them. I still love all of them, even the ones that come out in last. And I have my own personal biases, all right? Sorry, I love Big Bend. I'm from Texas, born and raised, and I feel like that's our national park. I feel a special connection to it. But anyways, let's get into the rankings. I'm going to start off with the Rocky Mountains, since that's the first park we went to. Now, the first one that we're going to talk about is... Sorry for the bad handwriting, by the way. Scenery. This is an automatic 10 without a doubt. alpine mountains, glacier carved valleys, alpine lakes like Emerald Lake, you got Sky Pond. I mean, there is just so much variety here. I mean, there's so much beauty, and I hadn't even gotten to the wildlife yet, which is I would consider part of the scenic parts, which is, you know, you got the moose, the elk. That puts a cherry on the top for the scenery. That makes it an automatic 10. But definitely, I mean, Trail Ridge Road, you get so many different views just off the stops that you're able to make. Now the next is adventure and activities. There's so many things to do. I said in the beginning, there's over 350 designated trails in this park. I mean, you can do a strenuous hike, you can do Sky Pond, you can even do a 14er with Long's Peak in the park, the only 14er in the park. But you could also do some you can do some light seeing stuff as well. You could go and do Sprague Lake, you could go to Moraine Park, you could drive Trail Ridge Road. And there's just an activity for everyone at this park. I would say that this is definitely worth it. I just realized that this marker's in the way. I also am gonna put in the gateway towns into adventure. Estes Park, a great place to go if you have an off day, if you wanna just spend the time going around the shops, going around the restaurants and just exploring the town. It's a very nice town. I'll definitely say that this is a 10 out of 10 for adventure. Next one is uniqueness. Now again, I've never witnessed an environment like this, the wildlife, hiking, the mountains. Also, the Trail Ridge Road is literally something you cannot get anywhere else in the United States. But for uniqueness, I'm gonna give it a 9 because I feel like there is this kind of terrain, the Rocky Mountain terrain is something that you could see in the other Rockies national parks, and so it's kind of hard for me to give it a perfect 10. Another thing that I have, they're all different. They all offer a different variety of something, of beauty, but there's only so many lakes that you can really visit. Still extremely high rating too. Now I gotta get really low to write these ones. The next one is atmosphere. Everyone and their mamas was out there, in the afternoons at least. And although we still crossed a lot of people on our hikes with Sky Pond and Emerald Lake and Sprague Lake, I still felt really immersed with the nature, and I still really like the vibes of the park and the people there. I'm gonna give it an 8. You know, I think the amount of people that are there docked some points. You know, it was extremely frustrating having to wait so long to just get in the park in the afternoon, but it definitely didn't ruin the trip at all. And now the last one, replay value. Now, although I feel like I checked a lot of boxes off my list in this park during these 2 days, I still feel like there's so much that I want to do. I want to finish Sky Pond when it's not icy. I also want to complete the Trail Ridge Road, cross the Continental Divide. I would also love to try some of the other, challenging hikes. I'm gonna give it an 8.5 out of 10 for replay value. It's definitely a park that I want to go back again. So, if you add all these rankings up, divided by 5, Rocky Mountain National Park gets a 9.1 out of 10, which, if you move over here to this, I got my rankings already here of the 3 that I've already visited. Zion National Park right here, 8.9. Big Bend National Park, 8.6. Bryce Canyon National Park, 8.2. So, I mean, of course, all of them are gonna get high ratings. I loved every single one of them. But that means Rocky Mountain National Park takes over first place with the 9.1 rating. Now we're gonna move on to the Great Sand Dunes, and oh boy, I don't even know if a national park will ever not be 10 out of 10 for scenery. I'm gonna give the Great Sand Dunes a 10 out of 10 again. I mean, I'll say it again, it does not feel real being on the sand dunes. You feel like you're on a completely different planet. You got 360 panoramic views of the Sango de Cristo Mountains. Being at the top of High Dune, while it was extremely strenuous to get to the very top, it was definitely my favorite view of the entire trip. If I could give scenery an 11 out of 10 for Great Sand Dunes, I would, but I don't want to break my own rules here. I already established them. I'm not going to break them here, and especially not in the first episode. And for adventure, I'm not going to lie, if it wasn't for the sandboarding, I think this rating would be a lot lower. Now, I know that I'm gonna have some people talking about, hey, you can go hike those mounds. The mounds in the background are all part of the park as well. It's part of the preserve part of the National Park and Preserve. And I mean, I did do some of it at least. I went to the Canyon Overlook Trail, but I'll be honest, I did not go to the preserve part nearly as much as I did to the actual park and the dunes. But for majority of visitors that are visiting, which is what they would do as visitors, they're going to the main event and that's about it. And the main event is the sand dunes. It can get crowded, a lot of people all in the same area, concentrated. And from there you can either get Star Dune or High Dune. Those are the two biggest hikes. Star Dune being a little bit more strenuous than High Dune actually. But after that, you can sandboard, you can just explore on your own. There's not much else to do after that. This is a park that you can get completed in just a few days. 2 days really, to be honest. If you're lucky, they got Madonna Creek, which is really only flowing in like some parts of May of the year. We went during May, I was hoping it was flowing and it was not. I would compare this park a lot to Bryce Canyon, where it has one main attraction where you can just look at it forever if you wanted to, but the park itself just doesn't have the activities that hold up to what Zion or Big Bend or the Rocky Mountains will have. So this adventure, I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. Next one is uniqueness. Might have already spoiled it, but I don't think there's much to spoil. I've already explained it enough in this video. It's a 10 out of 10 for the Great Sand Dunes. You don't get this anywhere else in America. They are the tallest sand dunes in North America. And so there is nothing that could ever bring this down to a 9.5 or a 9 out of 10. This will forever be a 10 out of 10 for uniqueness in the national park system. Now the next category gets pretty personal with my own trip. So let me tell you about the atmosphere. So I told you already, there is not a lot of people here. Even during Memorial Day weekend, High Dune, I probably saw about 2 or 3 people. That was around 6 o'clock in the morning though, however. I mean, the afternoons, of course, are definitely a little bit more crowded, but it's definitely not anything that it's gonna dock any points for that. In fact, I really enjoyed the atmosphere here. I thought everyone here was extremely nice. With that being said, I'm still gonna give it a 7.5 out of 10 because if you don't know, I did also say atmosphere and weather at the start. And yes, the wind with the sand definitely docks a lot of points. It was extremely painful. Now I've ran out of space, but lastly, the replay value. I'm gonna give this a 5 out of 10. I really don't have as much motivation to go back to this park as I do for the Rocky Mountains. And again, it comes with the variety. It comes with how much activities and adventure there is in each park. The Great Sand Dunes, not nearly as much, and it's something that you could definitely experience once and be pretty satisfied with what you did, especially if you sandboarded. I'm telling you, you gotta go sandboard. But, it's still a place that I would still love to go back, obviously, and I would never say no to going back if somebody offered. It's something that, maybe I find myself in Colorado and I'm close by and I want to go visit it for a day. That's something that I would definitely try to do if I'm in that circumstance. And so I don't want to give it a terrible, terrible rating, but I also want to make it very clear that this park can be accomplished in a few days. So I'm gonna have to give it a 5 out of 10, which honestly kind of hurts me to do this, but it does make the Great Sand Dunes in last place at 7.9 out of 10. Look, in different aspects, I can say all of these parks will be ranked first. Like sandboarding on the sand dunes was my favorite activity to do in all of these 5 national parks. The Bryce Canyon views, I would still say, even though I was kind of debating with the Great Sand Dunes, I would say the Bryce Canyon National Park views were the best that I've seen out of all the parks. I would say the atmosphere of Big Bend National Park is the greatest that I saw out of all 5 of those national parks. All of these are special. I mean, they are so different from each other. Landscape, ecosystem, weather, all of these are completely different. It makes it really hard to compare them. But definitely, if you are ever in Colorado, I can't recommend enough going to these 2 national parks right here, the Rocky Mountain National Park and Great Sand Dunes National Park. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this video, guys. I mean, I still have 57 more national parks to visit and 58 if you count Gateway Arch. Here's to hopefully a great channel, some great audiences, and hopefully I can keep you guys entertained and offer you guys some really good information and really honest ratings about these national parks. But I will be getting a professional camera soon, I can guarantee that, and I can't wait to do that and hopefully, increase my content for you guys. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and I hope I see you guys soon.